Greetings and salutations, Johnny Mac, Rock and Metal Plus. Bit of a special one here. As you know, I don't usually do interviews and stuff, but here with Chris from Winterfylleth for the launch of the new album, which is this wonderful piece of work, the Imperious Horizon. I think it's your 8th album. Is that right, mate? Yeah. So, last album came out 2020, I believe.
Did, yeah.
So I'm guessing this has got a lot of interesting stuff on it.
I hope so. I mean, you know, when you're doing these things, I guess you're always trying to shine light in new areas, like come up with new and interesting things. I mean, it's a Winterfylleth album. You know, I think it has a sense of all the albums that we've made before. I think there's an identity to the sound of the band, but equally, as you evolve as a band, organically, hopefully, then you try and add new things, you shine light in a few dark corners of your ability and your kind of writing prowess, I suppose, and then what comes out of it is this. So, you know, a bit of a weird time since the last album. It's been 4 years, but I think 2 of those, not like everybody else, was sort of spent lockdowns and COVID and stuff.
Yeah.
So it doesn't feel like that long, if you know what I mean. But it's a great one, I hope, and I think it's one of our best albums. So I know every artist says that.
Yeah, well, so far the singles I've heard, I purposely didn't listen to it last night because I believe there was a, was it?
A premiere?
Yeah, on
Black Metal Promotions.
Black Metal Promotions, which is, everybody listens to and watches that stuff. It's you know something new's coming in, chance I'll be on there. I hadn't listened to it purposely because I wanted to check it today, and I'm that person that likes to have something in my hand. And
so, yeah, I think I'm of the old school as well. You know, there's some. It's funny because when you're in a band, you want people to check out the new music, but then also I don't really want to check out people's singles. I want to listen. Sit down with the lyric sheet and the whole thing, and like give it an hour or whatever it might be.
I don't mind singles are like, but I don't want to listen to all of it digitally on YouTube or whatever. I want to sit down on my deck or CD player, whichever for tapes now. I don't know if you do them, but I pick up a lot of tapes on the channel. I have occasional collection updates where I show just tapes.
All right.
But as I said, I did a death metal one recently, and that the first thing I showed you was an excellent tape, the only underground stuff which I love. And let's face it, black metal doesn't get much more underground than that, does it? Since the last album, you've got a new guitarist. I was lucky to see you guys live last year with the new guitarist. Very impressive.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah,
he can play.
Yeah, he's a good lad. Yeah, I mean, he.
Any input in the album?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Obviously, apart from playing.
He's a full member of the band now, so you know, there's no kind of us and them. He's not like a Jason Newsted or something, or he's not like the perennial new guy. You know, Russell, as he's called, if you don't know him, he's got his own band, Necronautical. So they're another great black metal band who are also on Candlelight Records. And, you know, he's been writing that band for the last, 10 years or so. And we'd worked with him on other projects, and his other band had toured with us and stuff. And so when Dan, our previous guitarist, was looking to kind of move on, move away from where we live in, and kind of he's moved to sort of central Wales. So
I know, it's about 10 minutes away from me, weirdly. That's another story, but I bought a Burzum album off him, actually.
Oh, very good. Convenient, you know, so convenient for him to it wasn't convenient for him to be in the band there as easily and things like that. So we got Russell to join, you know, and he's been a great influence on this. A little bit of a different player to me and Nick, with bass player who does a lot of writing as well. Russell's a lot more technical player, like sweeping across the strings, a lot more kind of fast stuff in like Necronautical stuff. So we have very different styles, but I think it's been interesting to kind of contrast that with the more sort of like sweeping and evocative style of Winterfylleth and the more sort of technical and aggressive style that Russ has.
I must admit, the newer stuff, this album, the last album, I'm loving Mark's keyboards in it. I think it adds that extra layer. For me, I was listening to the second album, which name goes off my head. I was listening to that earlier on in the week.
Right.
And it's wonderful, but it hasn't quite got that extra layer. I like the rawness of the earlier stuff, obviously, like everybody. I like the first album type thing. So all that kind of thing. And everybody loves it when you're starting off and you've got a new sound and you're hungry and that. But like a lot of bands, you change and add layers.
Yeah.
Because your lighting gets better, you find in your path, you find your sound. And I think your sound is definitely better with Mark Deeks on the keys. It just adds that extra bit, the atmosphere for atmospheric black metal.
Yeah.
I know you a lot of people class you guys as
it's a strange
pagan black metal, but yeah, atmospheric is.
We get called atmospheric black metal, but to me, all black metal is atmospheric. It just depends like what you mean by atmospheric. I think when we get described as it, I think people mean a kind of more like outward looking, like well produced, evocative, atmospheric. That's kind of seeking the mountaintops rather than the kind of the caverns and the graves, if you like. And so it's much more open and wide rather than lo-fi and introverted. But even that stuff has its kind of atmosphere. With Marco, I think he's been in the band like getting on for 10 years now. He's been with us since the Divination of Antiquity, our fourth album. And yeah, well, it's interesting because like we have lots of keys in the album now, but we're not a symphonic like.
Oh, definitely not.
It's Winterfylleth with keys, not keys with Winterfylleth. I mean, I think
Summoner or
yeah,
I think like that.
you can have this weird sort of like plastic sound with like too much keyboards, and it's very difficult to sit in the sort of spectrum of things. So I'm really happy we found the right place for it in the mix of what else we're doing, because it was a challenge, but once you get the right mix of it, it has this really nice atmosphere, and I'm really happy with it.
Well, as you say, it is still essentially black metal. You're not going to get it's not a folky sound as such, even though obviously you've got that British English sound. You've got that something sort of like talking of symphonic bands, I'm a big fan of a lot of symphonic stuff, especially the Norwegian second wave and all that, and you've got all that winter sound to the keys. The keys seem to bring a lot of that sort of throws and wastes, and obviously you seem to be able to get that. Well, all your covers seem to, you look at it and you go, I know what this is going to sound like. And this is obviously the first one which seems a lot more wintry. The others are more, obviously, they're still mountains and valleys and all that sort of thing. I'm Welsh, so I appreciate a good mountain. I'm happy if I'm close to a mountain. So it's like, it's something about it. It's you feel it's there. It's in your heart, isn't it? You need to, and you guys seem to put it into your music, I think.
Well, there's a great song a great concept of a song we have, which is called Green Cathedral from our 2016 album, Dark Earth Tecords, and it's about the kind of the spirituality and I guess like I don't know what, like about personal spirituality, but also about this kind of idea of just the magic and the majesty you could feel from climbing up a mountain, go look across a beautiful valley, and it's almost like the idea of you can find the spirituality and release and peace in looking across there. And you don't really need the kind of cathedrals of man, if you like. Yeah. You don't need like religion or whatever to find inner peace or morality. You have this kind of it's like the green cathedral of nature kind of brings that to you. So I think some of that permeates it all. There's this idea of it being a kind of organic sounding, outward looking band, and one that's kind of connected to sort of folklore and tale, and also kind of a helicopter view of society, and trying to kind of give a bit of context around what we think is going on at each point in time.
Yeah. No, it's as said, and you managed to keep relevant, but you've moved on, but not changed your sound. It's weird when it's like some bands do the same album each time, and that's fine, and that works, and that's what the fans want. As soon as you do something different, they're like, whoa, can't be doing that. I'm old enough to remember, sort of, I go at sort of like 70s, early 80s and that, and all the bands suddenly coming on, and suddenly everybody wants to sound like an Iron Maiden, or they want to sound like, all of a sudden everyone wants to be American. You got people that, talking with American accents when he's a Brummie and all this sort of stuff. It's just a weird thing. It's like the latest thing. But we're in a weird time where I don't know what the latest thing is in metal these days.
I think that's okay. I don't think the thing that's the latest thing is probably the thing for us. No. I mean, Old Man Shouts a Cloud or whatever, but there's a spirit in black metal that I just love, and like there's bands pushing it into different territories, and that's fine. And I think that it's the end of metal that sort of has the most creativity to me and has the most intrigue to me. And I think that I've been into it for many, many years, and I still find new bands doing things in different ways and bringing in different influences. And I think that that's a great thing for the style. There's lots of stuff that's stagnating, and people trying to bring back new metal and like terrible kind of like techie death metal and all this sort of stuff. And I don't know, some of it feels soulless and kind of with no purpose to me and insincere. And so I think I find a lot of sincerity in this kind of stuff, and I want it to be a reflection of that.
Well, I'm finding I've got a broad spectrum of metal that I listen to, and non-metal I like the 80s gothic stuff and all that sort of stuff, all the Sisters of Mercy and all them kind of bands I'm love the gothic side of it and various other, you know, classic rock and everything. But these days I'm listening to more and more black metal simply because I can have whatever mood I want out of a black metal record. And, you know, if I want something that maybe back in the day I would have grabbed a punk record or something like that, I can get punky black metal. Admittedly, that's the whole Dark Throne catalogue. You know, but you know what I mean. It's like I'm getting albums, and if I want something with female vocals, there's a black metal album for me. If I want something that's acoustic and folky, there's a black metal album for me. Or if I want to, you know, something to put in the car and drive 100 miles an hour, there's definitely a black metal album for me. So yeah, no, it's a genre that I can't seem to get enough these days. And that, you know, if I'm listening to 10, 15 albums a week, chances are at least half of them are black metal.
Right.
And this will be on rotation a lot. Anyway, I'll let you get off. It's getting past my bedtime anyway. New album, from what I heard downstairs, sounds absolutely brilliant. Thank you for doing this for me. Much appreciated.
Yes, thank you very much.
Good luck. And I'll hopefully see you on the tour. Right, that's me done. I'll see you guys in the next one. Be a collection update. I'm going to do Australian black metal randomly. I bought a load of Drown in the Light stuff and Cavern or whatever. So I've got a load of stuff to show you in the next one. Cheers, guys. Laters.